Hey everyone, wanted to jump on this morning really quick on a Tuesday since you don't have live class. My computer science or my game design class does, but I figured, you know what, I should jump on, talk to them a little bit, and give you this quick rundown of what these things called arrays are. So we talked about arrays a little bit at the end of the first semester, but your memory may be fuzzy. But I wanted to highlight a couple things about arrays and how the computer sees an array, right? So an array is a special type of variable that holds that basically it allows you to put one name to a bunch of different values. Okay, so if you have something like names in a phone book, for example, you don't want to just, that's not going to be a big string. That's not going to be, you're going to put names in a phone book and you're going to put like Alex, Mackenzie, Clara, Jonathan, right? You're going to put them in a certain order, and then they'll be designated to a certain point in the array, right? Well, we did that a little bit, and so, but we also talked about something called strings. Now, the cool thing about strings and arrays in most programming languages is that they see them exactly the same way. A string and an array work exactly the same way. You just don't necessarily have to see the values in the way the computer does. I'm going to show you what I mean in just a second. So we have a very simple variable up here, a string variable called Alex, which is assigned this set of string. All right, this little string of letters, right? A-L-E-X. Now, to you, that means Alex, but to the computer, it doesn't. The computer sees it like this, okay? The computer sees that this variable, Alex, right, and this should be lowercase. Like, we remember capitalization is very important in Python, so make sure we don't mess that up, right? So it sees it like this. It sees that Alex, the variable Alex, the position 0, which is where we start. Remember, all arrays start with 0, not 1. At position 0 is equal to this character. Okay, which you know as A, but the computer just knows it as a series of as a number, and then it relates that number back to binary. But that goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the year. But this is what the computer sees. It sees that Alex 0 is equal to A, Alex 1 is equal to L, Alex 2 is equal to E. So as you can see, the computer is building your string variable into an array on its own. Okay, so it knows that it's an array. And what did we talk about you can do with an array? Well, you can do a lot of things. You can roll through it, right? You can use an if statement, a loop to loop through it and look for a certain value. You can change the position of certain things in it. You can delete things off the end. You can add things to the beginning. You can add things to the end. There's all kinds of things that you can do to manipulate an array. What's cool is that means you can also do that to a string. So any function or method that you create that you wanted to do to manipulate a string or an array, you can also use to manipulate a string, which is really cool. And that's what you're going to be doing in this unit. So I wanted to make sure that you know that, because this is what we're really looking at. So we're not so much looking at these little strings, we're looking at these big strings, right? So like this is a story, this is like or not a story, this is really just some instructions from my computer science class. But instructions is my variable, and it's equal to this huge, big, long string. But the cool thing, like I said, is this is just one big array. So we can do things to this. We could run spell check on this, right? We could look for certain words and see if they're misspelled and replace them with other words. We could do find and replace. We could add things to the story. So you can see how quickly this, these types of programs or these types of instructions can become very powerful when we're trying to work with big long text strings and stuff like that. So during this unit, you're going to be introduced to the first time getting into this, manipulating big data sets, which in this case is just, I think it's a story that they're going to have you manipulate. But while you're doing that, try to relate all the stuff we've been doing all semester to, how can I use this to manipulate this string, but also how would this work with a big data set? So how would this work if this was a big list of numbers or names or grades or something like that, okay? So get the bigger picture as you're working through. It's not just about manipulating a story. Think about how you would do that with a big data set. All right, so, and for your ticket out the door today, your ticket out the door is, let me hit enter a couple times because there we go. So there's your ticket out the door. Check that out. Make sure you don't miss my class on Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that's it. I'll see you there, and I'll see you in the next video as well. Bye.